And my goal here is not to teach you how to fix the hard drive so you can put it back in your computer and make it work again. Now, hard drives are cheap. If you can repair the hard drive, get the data off of it as quick as possible, then you don't need that hard drive again, and you just throw it in the garbage or do whatever you got to do. So let's find out for real if this is going to work. All right. A little bit about my presentation. It is all done in Flash. So PowerPoint was not hurt. Thank you. We did not harm PowerPoint making this. So on the CD, you will find the Swift file. You can drag and drop into any browser, and you can play it. You can also go to forensicspeak.com, and I have it up live with a couple of spelling errors fixed. So one of the things that I want to describe to you is some of the common things that you might not know about a hard drive, rather than the things that people always seem to say. I was at a drinking contest a couple days ago, and a guy sitting next to me who's a high-end tech said, "You can't do that because those hard drives are hermetically sealed." How many people think a hard drive is hermetically sealed? No? How many people think it is sealed at all? Oh, look, a couple of hands. Well, if it was hermetically sealed, it means that there would be no air transfer from the inside of that hard drive to the outside. And that just absolutely isn't true. Every hard drive, there are hermetically sealed hard drives. Let me just state that the DoD or somebody who's flying in an airplane very high would have to have a hermetically sealed, because when the air gets so thin, the air will not support a head floating in the air. So the hard drives that you buy at the store are not sealed at all. They have a little hole, a filter, sometimes in the top, and sometimes there's some underneath the platters themselves to try to help equalize the pressure as you turn on that hard drive and get it running. Usually, let's see if this works. Usually, it's in a gap in an area over here, and it's sometimes on the lid of the hard drive that you will see this hole. There also is sometimes a spacer in the back, and there will be a hole for the air to come in and a small filter that looks like a pillow sitting there. Now, the first thing I can tell you about a data recovery is if you did happen to open this drive and look at it. If you look at that filter first, you may save yourself a lot of time and a lot of energy, because if it is silver when you open it, it means that the head was scraping the platters somewhere, and little fragments flew off and went into this filter. And why that is important is because you cannot always see where the scratch is on your platters, because you cannot take off a multi-platter system. So there might be a scratch on the bottom of a platter, and you can't see it where the head hit it. So the only way you know it's there is to look at this little pillow to see if it has any silver oxide on it at all. I'm going to go through this component as a separate component, but the two components that I don't really cover in any other slides is this thing here called the actuator lock and the spindle. Now, the spindle is the motor. I don't mean that it's like that 59-cent thing that you bought at Radio Shack and you attach to a little pin. Underneath the cover, after you take off this first piece, there's a silver cap. And underneath the silver cap is actually